What up guys, Sinapse here. Today I want to talk about the myth of self-congruence, alright? Pretty much everybody out there thinks that when they make a decision, when they decide to do something, that they are doing that 100%, alright? And pretty much the fact of the matter is that no, they're not, right? There's all sorts of conflicting desires within each person, and that's natural, right? That's to be expected to a certain degree. But this can kind of manifest and backstab you a bit when it comes to women, all right, or anything really in life. But if you see a girl that you want to talk to, and in your mind you've said, all right, I want to talk to her. You know, for a lot of guys, you would verbalize that, you know, I have the desire to talk to that girl, right? But in reality, you're kind of blocking out all of the other mixed desires that are mashed up together in there, and they're all sort of pulling you in different directions, all right? So maybe you want to talk to the girl, but you don't want to talk to her as much as you want to not open yourself up to rejection. You don't want to talk to her as much as you want to run across the street. You don't want to talk to her as much as you want to go home early and play some video games. You don't want to talk to her as much as you want to stand around chatting with your wingmen. You don't want to talk to her as much as you want to just get another drink and then talk to them later, right? So all of these conflicting desires, all of these ways of avoiding sort of, in some ways it can be avoiding what you want to do, in other ways it can actually be legitimately you know, something you want to do or need to do, but it's still not a single-minded sense of focus, right? Your mind is like a crystal, right? And it's not focused. Like, you know, pretty much everybody's played with a magnifying glass to burn things with the power of the sun, right? And you know that if you hold it too far away, it's blurry, and if you hold it too close, it's blurry, but at that right place and at that right angle, it creates a laser point of solar energy, and that essentially is what you can use to burn whatever it is, whether it's ants or paper or whatever it was you were playing with, right? So our brains work much the same way. It's like a focused crystal, except you can imagine there's multiple different crystals, sort of like, I don't know, like the Death Star. Star Wars just came out, so in the old Star Wars there were all those points at the Death Star, and they like banded together to create the beam. So it's kind of like that, but in your mind, if you have all these different things that you want, your results are going to be kind of all over the place as well. If you can find a way to focus, to hone in that desire, so that you're clear about what you want and what you don't want. And this is a process that is as much, or if not more, a rejection of doing what you don't want to do. So in other words, saying no more often to your own mind, right? Especially when it comes to distractions or things which are not actually in line with your goals, all right? So if you see a girl, if you want to hook up with a girl, you're thinking, you know, let's say you're on a date with a girl, you've brought her back, you're like, oh, you know, I want to kiss the girl, but, right, that's one desire in my mind, but also I don't want her to reject me, right? But also I don't want her to run away. Also I don't want her to feel offended. I don't want her to, you know, upset her. I don't want to make her feel nervous. All of these are conflicting desires, right? And so that they're not really helping you if they're all over the place. So what can you do, right? It's in these moments where you have all these conflicting desires that you need to appeal to both, one, right action, which means that you always must take the correct action to pursue your goals and desires, right? Regardless of how it will be perceived or how it will be met, or even if it has success or failure. And on top of that, you know, you have to have the ability to view things in the longer term picture, right? So you can't see things as, in this moment, am I saving myself in this way by acting this way, right? I know so many guys who, it sounds weird to say it, but they are actually really self-sabotaging. And what that means is that while they do want to hook up with the girl, there are a lot of parts of them that don't. Okay, now this is mind-blowing, right? Because essentially a lot of guys are like this, self-sabotaging, even guys who are involved in game and who frankly should know better within their own mind, but it can be a hard pattern to escape, right? So there's going to be times where you're going to have a choice between looking cool or looking attractive and getting the girl. All right, and you have to make that choice, right? Easy example. If you're at the bar and you're like, oh, I'm gonna look cool here drinking my drink, and then when she comes near, I'll talk to her. The other option, of course, would be to like cross the room, and maybe there's like a fence you have to climb over, and like you spill your drink on yourself and you look totally not cool at all, but you talk to the girl and you get the girl. All right, so what is more important for you at the end of the night? Is it more important to you that the girl sees you as, oh, that cool guy at the bar, or is it more important for you to leave with the girl and hook up with the girl? All right, because this happens more often than not, right? It's the same thing with when you're going for a kiss on a date. A lot of guys feel nervous. I totally understand. I've been there, right? I've been there, I've done that. I felt nervous trying to go for the kiss. I felt like I didn't want to get rejected. I felt like the interaction, the night was going so well, I didn't want to ruin it with my kiss, right? Sounds absurd, when I think about it now, but it is an understandable thing. It's a thing that guys think, right? So you have to realize that at certain times, at certain points, you may have to realize that you're choosing between looking cool or getting the girl, right? Or perhaps preserving your ego and getting the girl, not getting rejected and getting the girl. All right, you have to be very clear with this with yourself, because once you sort of analyze and once you sort of realize that those are the two choices, you're like, hey, look, I can be cool and not get the girl, or I can look like a dumbass and get the girl. Well, I think you know the right answer, right? Because looking cool doesn't actually do anything for you in the long term, and nobody should care about looking cool, right? Ultimately, because it's just about pursuing your desires, pursuing your goals with women and, external to women. So whatever helps bring you towards your goals is good, and whatever helps take you away from them is bad. And that, of course, is hard to tell when they seem to be aligned, right? As another, as another example, it's like seems very, very close, but actually they're worlds apart, right? So you're like, oh, I could try to pull this girl really hard, or I could go game other girls, right? And you don't put a sincere effort into the one that you're with, assuming you like her, right? Because you've sort of in your mind made some weird calculation that, you'd be able to gain more by doing this other thing, but you're already with a girl, right? Take it to its conclusion if you like her, right? So all of these ways in which guys self-sabotage and guys sort of fracture or shatter their own focus, their mental focus, like a crystal is shattered so that the light scatters everywhere, as opposed to being focused like a beam, like a laser, right? That's the thought I want to leave you guys with today. Make sure your thoughts are focused like a laser towards your goals, and not towards something which seems like your goal but is actually just a really close, but in the end quite worlds apart distraction, right? Such as looking cool in front of the girl. All right guys, hope you guys like that. See you next time.